Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Friday Night Smackdown review. And this review is going to be on last night's edition of Smackdown, which was the September 11th edition. And of course, it was from the Amway Center in Orlando. And Smackdown last night was just an absolutely terrible show. Garbage. The show from last week was a much better and decent show compared to what we saw last night. Just the show was garbage. It felt like filler, in my opinion. It was just a filler show. But let's jump right into the review. So SmackDown opened up last night with, once again, Roman Reigns opening the show. He opened the show last week, and now this week. Of course, Roman came out along with Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman ended up getting on the mic, and he ended up saying that the tribal chief has asked him to let us in on some history. He ended up recalling how him and Roman got together, and how Roman captured the Universal Championship 2 days later at Payback. And he ended up saying that last Friday, they laid all their cards on the table. And on that same night, Roman's cousin, Jay, stepped in and became the number one contender for the Universal Championship. Paul Heyman ended up saying that Roman has given him the honor and privilege to introduce Jey Uso. So then Heyman ended up introducing Jey Uso. Jey Uso ended up coming out. Jay got in the ring. He ended up getting on the mic. And he ended up saying that he's got love for Paul Heyman because of Paul Heyman's history with his family. So Jay ends up thanking Paul Heyman because he gets to compete against his blood at Clash of Champions. You know, of course, Jay and Roman are family. They're cousins. So Paul Heyman ended up telling Jay, you know, the thanks should go to Roman and not himself. And he ended up saying because when Big E was taken out last week, it was Roman's idea to get Jey Uso into the Fatal 4-Way. Reigns ended up saying that Jay doesn't have to thank him because they're blood. And he ended up saying that they've thought about this for years. And he went on, Roman ended up going on about how no one gave this to Jay and that he earned it. He ended up saying that he's about to take a big payday home to his family. And this is his, and that he earned it. Reigns ended up telling Jay not to look at the Universal Championship because his big moment won't come at Clash of Champions. He ended up saying that, like when they were kids, Roman is going to beat Jay's ass at Clash of Champions. Then it will still be all love. Reigns went on to say that the Universal Championship has to stay on him to feed their families. So Jay ended up saying that things are different now. They're not little kids. They're grown men. And then they get interrupted by Corbin. Corbin ends up coming out in a suit. I'm like, why is Corbin wearing a suit? That suit should go on Roman. I don't know why. They have Corbin come out in a suit. So Corbin ended up saying that it doesn't take a genius to figure this out, and that this is all a setup. He ended up saying that Roman pulled some strings to get a hand-picked opponent for his first title defense. Corbin ended up saying that this is a classic case of nepotism, and that it makes him sick. So he ended up saying that nothing makes him sicker than to see someone walk around and abuse their power. And then out came Sheamus. Sheamus came out and he ended up agreeing with Corbin. He ended up saying that the whole situation stinks. And he went on about how Jay getting in the match was a setup because Big E was supposed to be in the match but got taken out by Sheamus last week. And Sheamus then ended up charging to Jey Uso. Jey Uso ended up sending Sheamus over the top rope to the floor. Corbin tried to attack, and Jey ended up sending Corbin into the ring post. And that was basically that. That was how the segment ended. But I gotta say, this was a very intense segment between Roman and Jey Uso. And then it all went to shit when Corbin ended up coming out. And Sheamus. I'm like, what does Corbin and Sheamus have to do in this situation with Roman and Jey Uso? They should not even belong in this whole, situation, this whole feud between Jey and Roman. So I don't know why they're even in this whole segment. Sheamus and Corbin. Like, what is the point? So then we saw Sami Zayn. He was in the production truck. He was arguing with the guys in the production truck because he got pissed because of the graphic for the AJ Styles versus Jeff Hardy match with the Intercontinental Championship being on the line, and why he wasn't put in that graphic. And he was pissed about how the match is a Intercontinental Championship match. So Sami was warned by the guys in the production truck to not press buttons. Sami Zayn starts pressing the buttons, and it went right to commercial. So that was that. Then we had Styles versus Hardy. The Intercontinental Championship was on the line. So we had Jeff Hardy come out first, and then AJ Styles. And then Sami Zayn ended up coming out to interrupt. Sami Zayn was carrying, of course, his Intercontinental Championship. He ended up saying that this match is not for the Intercontinental Championship because he is champion. He said he won the title fair and square in March and then defended the title at WrestleMania against Daniel Bryan. He ended up saying that he took some time off and WWE decided to crown a new sham champion. And that he ended up saying that he's back now. So Sami ended up saying that Styles and Hardy can beat each other up, but this is an exhibition match. So then we had Adam Pearce come out. This guy still getting more TV time. Comes out with security to the stage. Sami ended up asking Adam Pearce to declare this match a non-title match. But Pearce ended up saying that they're here to get Sami out of here. So Sami ends up ranting at Adam Pearce. He leaves. And then Styles took advantage of the distraction because Jeff Hardy was distracted. Styles ended up taking advantage, dropped Jeff Hardy, and the match ended up starting. And the match itself, it was a okay match. But in the end, the match ended in a no contest because Sami Zayn ended up coming out, sending Styles into the ring steps. And Sami ended up getting into the ring and took out Jeff Hardy with the haluva kick. So that was that. And then we went back to the ringside area because they showed Roman Reigns and Jey Uso backstage. So we went back to the ringside area. Jeff Hardy was shown again up to his feet. And he tried to walk up the ramp. He ended up stumbling down. And Corey Graves and Michael Cole in commentary were like, oh, I believe Jeff Hardy needs some help. So WWE did this with Jeff Hardy here. And they were referring to Matt Hardy went through in his match with Sammy Guevara at All Out, which I did watch All Out. I did not review it though, but I did watch it, and it was a decent AEW show. It wasn't their best pay-per-view by any means. It wasn't their best pay-per-view by any means though, but it was an okay show, All Out. So, like I said, what WWE did here with Jeff Hardy is the same with Matt Hardy from what we saw at All Out after his match with Sammy Guevara. And then when SmackDown came back from the commercial, we saw Elise Ashton. She was outside of the trainer's room, and she ended up informing the viewers that Jeff Hardy was suffering from dehydration. And then we see Styles end up showing up. He ended up ranting on how Jeff Hardy being the champion, being champion because he cheated. He also goes off on Sami Zayn. And Styles ended up asking, who is the true Intercontinental Champion? He ended up declaring that he can beat both Jeff Hardy and Sami Zayn. So Styles ended up saying that he doesn't care when or how, but he will prove that he is the one and only Intercontinental Champion. So it looks like WWE is going to be booking a triple threat match between Styles and Jeff Hardy and Sami Zayn at Clash of Champions Gold Rush, which we all know that's going to happen. So triple threat is going to be coming for the Intercontinental Championship. So then we saw Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura in their lounge. Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins are there. And, of course, they're there because of their match this Monday on Raw, where the Street Profits, Montez and Dawkins, are going to be facing Cesaro and Nakamura. It's going to be a champions versus champions match this upcoming Monday on Monday Night Raw. So Cesaro and Nakamura, are going to their match, and the Street Profits end up saying that they are going to enjoy the lounge and get a scouting report for their match on Monday. And Cesaro and Nakamura end up warning both the Profits to not touch anything in their lounge. And the Street Profits end up touching, everything there in the lounge anyway. So that was that. Then we went to Cesaro and Nakamura's match. They end up facing the Lucha House Party. Garbage match. We had Cesaro and Nakamura end up getting distracted because the Street Profits were on the screen and they're throwing a party in Cesaro and Nakamura's lounge. And it's full of, everyone there. It's full of people. And Kalisto ended up coming from behind, took advantage of the match because Cesaro was distracted by what was going on with the Profits on the other screen. So Kalisto ended up rolling up Cesaro and got a win. So there you go. The Lucha House Party end up winning the match. But garbage match. So then, after that, Lucha House Party ended up joining the Street Profits in Cesaro and Nakamura's lounge. Like we saw, Matt Riddle there. We saw Chad Gable, amongst others. And then, after that, we had Bayley come out. Bayley came out. She ended up carrying the chair that she used last week to beat down on her former partner and best friend, Sasha Banks. So she ends up sitting down on the chair, sets it up in the middle of the ring, sits down, and she points up at the screen. And we saw video package of what happened last Friday, where she ended up being down on Sasha. So she ended up saying, after the video package was over, Bayley ended up getting on the mic. She ended up saying that after all that, people are asking how Sasha is doing and when she will be back. And she ended up saying that no one is asking how she is doing, how Bayley is doing, or how she feels. Bayley ended up asking if we think she enjoyed that, if it felt good to take the chair and destroy her best friend. She ended up saying that yes, it did feel good, and that she enjoyed every second of that by beating up Sasha. So she ended up saying that she knows Sasha is watching. She ended up saying that she's known all these years what Sasha has been up to. She says she's been waiting for the right time to strike. And she ended up keeping Bayley close from day one, Sasha, is what Bayley said. Bayley ended up saying that Sasha has pretended to be her best friend all along. And it was just to use her. So Bayley ended up saying, oh, how do I know that? And she ended up saying that she was using Sasha every step of the way. Bayley went on to say that she never cared about Sasha or their friendship. She ended up saying, thanks to Sasha, she became a dual champion and the first women's Grand Slam champion and the longest reigning Smackdown women's champion. She ended up saying, but after last week, Sasha is completely useless to her now. And so that was what Bayley had to say, addressing the situation that she did to Sasha last week. But I thought this was a very good promo from Bayley, and it sets up their feud, with Bayley and Sasha. Sasha could be challenging Bayley for the SmackDown Women's Championship soon. I think after Clash of Champions, because the next match we had a number one contenders match on who will face Bayley for the SmackDown Women's Championship at Clash of Champions. But we move on to the number one contenders women's match, Fatal 4-Way, Nikki Cross versus Alexa Bliss versus Tamina versus Lacey Evans. Like I said, the winner will face Bayley for the SmackDown Women's Championship at Clash of Champions. Nikki Cross ended up coming out first, and she was pumped up. She was ready to go for the match. She ended up passing Bayley. And as Nikki Cross made her way down, Bayley ended up laying Nikki Cross out with a chair shot to Nikki's back. And then SmackDown went to commercial. And then when SmackDown came back from the commercial, we saw Alexa Bliss out there. She was with the medic, checking on Nikki Cross. Nikki Cross was heard saying that she's ready to go for this match. Lacey made her entrance, and the match got underway. And the match was just, didn't even care for it. And the only highlight of this match was Alexa Bliss delivering the Sister Abigail to Nikki Cross. So right then and there, Alexa ends up turning on Nikki Cross. So after that, it was shown that Alexa ended up walking to the back. So it went from a Fatal 4-Way to a triple threat match. And it was just only Nikki Cross, Tamina, and Lacey Evans. But in the end of the match, you had Nikki Cross rolling up Tamina. It was Nikki Cross rolling Tamina in a sunset flip. And there you go. Nikki Cross ended up winning the match. She is the number one contender to face Bayley for the SmackDown Women's Championship at Clash of Champions. And I'm like, great, we're getting this match again for the title. Nikki Cross gets another shot at the Smackdown Women's Championship. Great. Same old. Same old. Then we had Otis versus John Morrison. Yeah, that's what this match was. The Miz was on commentary throughout this match. There was a point where he ended up getting on the ring apron, ended up getting off of the ring apron, stealing Otis's Money in the Bank briefcase. And I'm like, what briefcase does the Miz have? Does he have the contract, or does he have another briefcase that has a piece of food that Otis ate? And then there was also a tease of this woman, this mystery woman, which showed more of her body and her hair, which was long and blonde. I'm like, of course it's going to be Carmella. But yeah, Miz ended up grabbing Otis's lunchbox, thinking that the Money in the Bank contract is in there. So Otis ended up dropping John Morrison. Otis ended up hitting the caterpillar to Morrison. Otis went to the second rope, delivered the Vader bomb. And then there you go. Otis ended up winning the match. Boring. Garbage match. So then we saw Heavy Machinery backstage. Tucker ended up wanting to go hunt the Miz down for the Money in the Bank briefcase or the lunchbox. Otis ended up telling Tucker to relax. Otis then ended up revealing that his Money in the Bank contract is back in the larger briefcase. So we got a briefcase inside of a briefcase with the contract in there. So he went to the Miz and John Morrison. The Miz opens the box, and there's a apple core inside of it, and it wasn't the Money in the Bank contract. So Miz ends up taking out his phone, and he says he's calling the favor. So that was that. So again is Otis hiding his contract, hiding his Money in the Bank contract inside of the Money in the Bank briefcase and inside of another briefcase. That is what we're getting. It's stupid when you think of it. I'm like, just keep the contract in the regular Money in the Bank briefcase. So then we went to the Firefly Funhouse. And they were introducing a new character for the Firefly Funhouse. So Bray Wyatt ended up saying that he has something to get off his chest first. He ended up saying that he says, thanks to Roman Reigns, something special is missing from the Funhouse. And that is the Universal Championship. And so Bray Wyatt then ends up going over to Huskus the Pig and says, in this box is a new member of the Funhouse. He ended up saying that this new member has overcome so much in his life to make it this far. So Bray Wyatt ended up calling on the other puppets in the Funhouse and to welcome the preserving parrot. So now we hear the effects of everyone clapping. And Bray Wyatt tried to get this parrot out of this box to fly out of the box or say something. So Bray Wyatt then goes to let the parrot out of the box, and something then surprised him. So then we had a graphic that said technical difficulties on it. And Bray Wyatt says that he has a problem. Him saying that he probably should have cut some holes in the box. So Bray Wyatt then ended up tossing the box and says, oh well, appearing that the parrot, of course, is dead inside the box. because he should have cut some holes in the box, Bray Wyatt. So then we had the Vince McMahon puppet, the evil Vince McMahon puppet, appear. He starts yelling at Bray Wyatt for losing the Universal Championship and also control of the Funhouse. So the evil puppet McMahon threatened to fire Bray Wyatt if he can't keep the Funhouse together. So the evil McMahon puppet then introduced a new special advisor for the Funhouse. And the new special advisor for the Funhouse is Wobbly Walrus, which of course is taking shots to Paul Heyman, because of the whole joke about the walrus. We all remember that joke on Paul Heyman. But when I saw this, I thought it was hilarious. I ended up laughing. So Bray Wyatt wasn't thrilled about that. And then you hear the McMahon puppet say, "Oh, this is some good shit," which they had to blurp out the word shit. So he ended up saying that, "My name is Wobbly Walrus. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Wobbly Walrus." And then, Bray Wyatt was like, "Ah!" And then it said to be continued. And that was that. So it's a cliffhanger for the Firefly Funhouse. But really like this. I really thought the whole Wobbly Walrus thing was hilarious. It's it's inspiration by Paul Heyman. It is Paul Heyman in that whole Wobbly Walrus that they're making fun of. But I liked it. Then we had Corbin and Sheamus versus Roman Reigns and Jey Uso. This was the main event. Of course, Jey Uso was only out there with Corbin and Sheamus. Roman didn't come out till later on at the end of the match. You had Roman's music end up playing, and Roman ends up getting standing on the ring apron, and Jey went to the top of the rope, and Jey didn't realize that Roman made the tag, because Roman ended up making the tag on Jey. Jey didn't realize it, so Roman ended up waiting for Sheamus to get up. Reigns ended up nailing Sheamus with the spear. Roman made the pin, and that was that. Roman and Jey Uso ended up winning the match. So Jey ended up carrying this match all by himself until the end of the match, where Roman just came in, tagged Jey, got in the ring, and then that was it. Delivered a spear. That was all that Roman did in the match. And that was that. That was Smackdown. But this main event was god-awful, in my opinion. And this whole show was garbage. Aside from the Funhouse and the Bayley promo, everything else, garbage. But anyways, that's it for the Smackdown review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. And until next video, I'll see you all later.